In a small fog-covered town at the edge of the woods there lived a man named Victor Crowley. He was not like other townsfolk. Where others avoided shadows and spoke in whispers of haunted places, Victor sought them out. He was a ghost hunter, a man who spent his nights chasing the restless spirits that others feared. Victor's reputation was legendary. People said he could speak to ghosts and banish them with a wave of his hand. Some claimed he carried a cursed lantern that could trap spirits inside its flickering light. Others whispered that he had once been a ghost himself, but had found his way back to life. Victor neither confirmed nor denied these tales. He simply did his work, moving from one haunted place to another, armed with his lantern, his notebook, and an unshakable courage. One autumn evening, Victor received an urgent letter. It came from a woman named Clara who lived in a crumbling mansion on the outskirts of town. The letter was brief, but desperate. Super dear Mr. Crowley. The spirits in my home grow stronger with each passing night. I fear for my family and for my sanity. Please come quickly. Victor packed his gear and set out immediately. When he arrived at Clara's mansion, the air was heavy with unease. The grand house stood silent, its windows like dark watching eyes. Clara met him at the door, her face pale and drawn. Clara, thank you for coming. The hauntings began a month ago. At first it was just whispers and footsteps, but now things move on their own. Doors slam shut and shadows creep where they shouldn't be. Victor, show me where it's worst. Clara led him to the grand hall, a vast room with high ceilings and an enormous chandelier that swayed gently despite the still air. Clara, it's here. This is where we see them most. Victor set his lantern on the floor and lit it. The flame inside flickered and danced, casting long, eerie shadows across the walls. He opened his notebook and began to sketch symbols on the wooden floor with chalk. Clara, what are you doing? Victor, setting a trap. If the spirits are here, they'll come to the light. As soon as he finished the last symbol, the temperature in the room plummeted. A chill ran down Clara's spine and her breath came out in visible puffs. The chandelier creaked and the whispers began, soft at first, then louder, growing into a cacophony of voices. Victor, show yourselves. The light from the lantern flared, and the shadows on the walls twisted and shifted. Then, one by one, ghostly figures emerged. They were translucent and glowing faintly, their forms shimmering like mist. Some looked human, while others were distorted, their faces frozen in expressions of anger or despair. Clara gasps and steps back. Victor remained calm. Victor, why are you here? What binds you to this place? A tall, menacing figure stepped forward, its eyes burning with an unnatural light. Tall ghost. We are trapped. The master of this house bound us here long ago. We cannot leave. Victor, who was this master? The ghost pointed to a faded portrait on the wall. It depicted a stern-looking man with cold eyes. Clara, that's my great-grandfather. I didn't know he... Tall ghost. He was a cruel man. He used us, betrayed us, and left us to rot in his service. Our hatred binds us here, even in death. Victor studied the portrait, then turned back to the spirits. Victor, if I release you, will you leave this house in peace? The ghosts hesitated, then nodded. Tall ghost. Release us. And we will trouble the living no more. Victor knelt and began to chant, his voice low and steady. The symbols on the floor glowed, and the light from the lantern grew brighter. One by one, the ghosts dissolved into wisps of smoke, drawn into the light until the room was empty and silent once more. Clara stared at Victor, her eyes wide with gratitude. Clara, thank you. The house feels lighter now. Victor, the spirits are at peace, but remember, the past has a way of leaving marks. Treat this house and its history with care. With that he left, disappearing into the misty night. The town would hear of his deeds and his legend would grow. But for Victor, it was just another night's work, another chapter in the life of the ghost hunter.